All right, I guess we're right back at it, man. I'm not playing around today at all. You know what I'm saying? Hey, what's going on, party people? Now, if this is your first time here, welcome. It's definitely a great pleasure to have you here. I go by the name of L'Esprit. I am a spiritual healer. And essentially, as a spiritual healer, what I truly do is that I help people to, to become Christ-like, to become Krishna-like. And what that simply means is that I help you to pretty much have the highest state of clarity. In other words, I help you to attain your highest level of consciousness. But what that also means at the same time is that I also help you to become a fully developed human being. Meaning now you have the ability to see things from different perspectives instead of looking at it from one perspective. And obviously, if you're looking at anything from one side, if you're being one-sided, then you clearly don't have a broader perspective. So therefore, that's pretty much what idiots are. You don't see the full picture, you're just looking at it from one side of it. So meaning you have a limited perspective. So in spirituality, pretty much, as a spiritual healer, I help you to have a broader perspective, i.e., which also means I help you to pretty much become a fully developed human being. And I go about doing that pretty much by helping you to become mentally and emotionally balanced. As I always talk about, and I'm not going to spend too much time on that because the conversation of what we're going to be talking about tonight is worth talking about because, but anyway, like we all know your emotions, I'll give you a perfect example. In fact, I just dropped a recording where, I was talking about where people always feel like if your mom, let's just say, is treating you a certain way, let's just say treating you badly for lack of better terms, right? And then someone else treats you the same way, you would probably be like, okay, this is mom. You wouldn't take it from somebody else, but you would take it from mom, right? Because at this point, you're being emotional, you're accepting mom, but at the same time, it's also blocking you from seeing the full picture or from seeing mom how mom is. Because if you're really going to talk about family, family should be treating you better, not worse. I mean, how else would family be family? You know what I'm saying? But anyway, another way of looking at this too, let's just say someone who's, let's just say emotionally unbalanced. Because technically, that's what happens when you say this is mom. You being emotionally unbalanced when it comes to that person. But that would also allow you to see the full person. It would also require you to do your own work. But that could be a little bit sensitive for some people. I get that. So let me dumb it down for a second, right? So let's just say, you're being triggered. That's why they tell you if you're mad, it wouldn't be wise for you to make a life decision because you're mad. It might be best for you to come back to it the next day, or not just mad. Let's just say you're in love, or let's just say whatever the fuck. But the point that I'm trying to make here is that you probably have witnessed, or you have seen or experienced someone, let's just say, that being emotionally, unbalanced, and then you could tell, like, there's certain things that you're looking at, and then that they don't see, and then you're like, okay, your emotions is blocking your vision right now. At the same time, since I'll be talking about spirituality shortly, but I think this is a great avenue for me to let you know this is also revealing our state of seeing, our state of being. Because think about it. And also this is all connected too. So if your emotion somehow is blocking you from seeing the full picture, that should also tell you how do you actually see things around you. That should tell you that you don't see things with those physical eyes. Because if that was the case, what would your emotions would have to do with anything? It would have been clear. So again, keep that in mind because this is also revealing our essence. But most importantly, this is also why I'm telling you why is it important for us to become mentally and emotionally balanced so you could have the highest level of consciousness. Or another way of saying that, so you could be fully developed as a human being. instead of being one-sided. So that would be the side of you being emotionally unbalanced. Now, it's pretty much the same thing. Unfortunately, a lot of people feel like, okay, because a lot of people who would see that, then they would say, you know what? If or even you may even say to yourself in the past, I was emotional, I didn't see this. So as a result, you decided to suppress your emotions, and then now you're saying to yourself, you know what? Let me be more intellectual, or let me become more mental, more intellect, or let me use logic more. However you choose to use it, the point here is that you're suppressing your emotions and you're going with your intellect, your thinking. And that's what happens with a lot of people who are emotionally hurt. Now you're thinking, like you're saying to yourself, you know what? Now at least I would see certain things. Well, guess what? It's the same thing. You still don't have the bigger picture. Because now what you're simply doing, and by the way, when we're talking about toxicity, that is the recipe for toxicity. Pure recipe. This is the exact recipe for toxicity. Because now what you're doing is, that's when you see people that are saying, you know what, can love pay my bills? It's like, what the fuck? What does love got to do with your bills? Do you see what I'm trying to say? But anyway, going back to what I was saying, when you become, let's just say too intellect or too mental or too logical, now you become very rigid. You can't connect to other people. You're not seeing certain things just the same way that someone who's being too emotional couldn't see certain things. Now you're stepping on other people's toes. You're pretty much, and that's what you'll see when people are like, hurting other people. That's the recipe. That's what most people do when they're hurting other people. Now they remove their emotions. Now you can't relate to somebody else because now you become very robotic. And as a result, you don't see the full picture. So it's the same shit. So for you to attain your highest level of consciousness, or another way of saying that, just like I said, for you to become fully developed as a human being, you need to properly address your emotions as well as your motherfucking intellect. Only then, now at this point, you'll have the ability to see things or to have a broader perspective. That's the key. This is why, oh man, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. So, now when we're talking about being mentally or emotionally balanced, what am I talking about here? So obviously, in the case of someone who's being emotionally unbalanced, what's taking place there is that they're not acknowledging their emotions. They're not in tune with their emotions. They don't understand what's taking place. In most cases, that's when you see people are being triggered. And then they act all crazy and shit. They lost it. They literally lost it. At that point, what you're seeing is, and a lot of us, like their emotions has physically taken over them. Like they're being like, what's the word that I'm looking for? There's a terminology for it, but technically they're being ruled by their own demon. And what that means is, which is another, it's a phrase that we use in the occult, and I'll talk about that shortly. Like to let you know that you need. That's why you need to face your demon. That emotions that somehow became greater than you, and you don't understand what the fuck is going on, and that has taken over you. So for you to pretty much avoid that, or to become emotionally balanced, you have to acknowledge that fucking emotions. You got to understand, okay, this is why I feel this way. This is why I'm being triggered. Then at this point, if you were to be triggered, then you know how to handle it. That's why being emotionally balanced simply means you being in tune with your emotions and you understanding your emotional patterns. Then at this point, you have the ability now, if anything were to arouse, anything were to arise and somehow, then you have the ability to control it. They're like, oh, this is what this is. I feel a certain way, but let me take a deep breath. And then now you still have, your inner vision, or you still somehow maintain a broader perspective. Do you see what I'm saying? Now, this is the same exact shit when we're talking about being mentally balanced. To be mentally balanced simply means you have to understand how your mind works. But most importantly, you have to understand how your culture is making you think. Do you see what I'm saying? Like for me, fortunately for me, I became, you know, cultural, or I became aware of different cultures because, you know, I was raised in Haiti. Then when I came here, I'm like, oh. So what is called having a culture shock pretty much is acknowledging that your way, what you used to, is not how it is here. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I'll give you a perfect example. In Haiti, kids could drink coffee. In the States, would you give your kid like a 7, 8-year-old coffee? Do you see what I'm saying? Now, that goes a long way. It goes a long way. But it's not just, I'm just using that just to show you in terms of what people eat, but it goes a long way in terms of the way you look at life, your understanding of life. So you have to understand that. Because what happens now at this point, when you're aware of how your culture is shaping your mind, now you're not being in a box. Because when you don't see that, now you're automatically being shaped and you're thinking that way. And then that is what the box is. Then you don't have a broader perspective. You only have a one-sided perspective, which is, let's just say, if you're American, that American perspective, or in my case, if I'm in being Haitian, it would be just a fucking Haitian perspective. And that's when you see now motherfuckers are saying my culture is better than yours, this and that, whereas ultimately, it's all bias, man. It's all bullshit. It's the same food that we all use, we just cook it in different ways. That's all it is. Puerto Ricans call fucking pork belly or chicharron. Us Haitian niggas, we call this shit griot. And we cook it differently. It's being prepared as... tomatoes, nigga. You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying that to say, now at this point, you're not being put in a box. You know, you have to learn for you to be fully developed as a human being, because that's what you are first, and then your nation, whatever the fuck else comes later. It's to learn pretty much, like for me, how to be Haitian without being Haitian. What that means is, nigga, that's where I was born. Okay. You know, but as far as me now, that human being, my intellect capacity, nigga, fuck no. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I eat griot and all that shit, but nigga, I can't do that shit every day. You know what I'm saying? Fuck all that shit. You know what I'm saying? Let me get my vegetables, nigga. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, and vice versa. But anyway, you know, your culture means something. It shapes you to think a certain way. So for you to be mentally balanced, meaning now you're not just acting a certain way because you were shaped or conditioned to think or act a certain way. Now you have the ability to refrain yourself, be like, oh, what the fuck? I get it. I understand. You know what I'm saying? That's not it. And I'll give you a perfect example. Like for me, you know, at first, you know, and I still have that because I have that Haitian mind. If anybody were to ask me, yo, dog, where you from? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, my automatic response is to let you know, nah, nigga, I'm from Haiti. Whereas in most cases, that's not what people are really asking me. But for me, when you ask me where I'm from, it's another way for me to identify myself. Whereas for most people, or when what I learned about this culture, when people are asking you where you from, it's technically they're looking to size you up. They're looking to put you in a box. If you're from up north, you're from down south. Oh, okay, so this is how you are. They're putting you in that box. This is the culture here. Or when somebody asks you, what do you do for a living? Nigga, I do a whole lot. I came to the park. You know what I'm saying? I fuck, I shit, I work out. But really what the motherfucker's asking you, this is what I'm saying, you have to understand the culture. Because it's saying a lot of things without saying a lot of things. You know, when motherfuckers asking you what do you do for a living, technically they're asking you what kind of job do you have? How do you make money? Do you see what I'm trying to tell you? So now you understanding that, you know what I'm saying? That's when you'll see I mean, shit, if you want to see how defensive people get, and then when you ask them that questions, niggas will go like, well, you know what, man? Because that's how you identify yourself, through your jobs or to what you're doing. Niggas would be like, well, you know what, right now, man, for now, I'm just, you know what I'm saying, have this part-time, you know, I'm going to school. Whereas, like, what the fuck, nigga? Your job doesn't identify you, nigga. You know how many fucked up jobs I've had? Or any even your doctor, like, nigga, the fuck? Since when your job identify who the fuck you are? But I get it. That is the culture. I'm saying all of that for you to know, or for you to understand. That's why you have to understand culture, so that way you're not being confined by it. For you to have a broader perspective, you got to dance around all that shit. Meaning, not dancing around by refuting it or by suppressing that shit, but to have an understanding of what that shit is. And then that's how now you're not being put in that box. So, to be mentally balanced, it's all that shit. It may sound simple, but that shit is a whole lot. It's just a whole lot that's being said. But anyway, now let's just move on, right? So, obviously, in terms of being Christ-like, to have that broader perspective, that highest level of consciousness, those are the work that you got to do. And this is why now, you know, Christ, Jesus, and whoever the fuck religion now, that's why when I always tell you guys, you know, when we talk about spirituality, which I'll be talking about shortly, it's simply giving you a deeper understanding of who you are. So true spirituality is to make you a better human being. Another way of saying that is for you to become fully developed as a person. Meaning now you are in tune with your emotions as much as you are in tune with your fucking intellect. And then as you're doing so, then now you have a broader perspective. You get to see this reality from a whole other level. Now, if you're coming back, I haven't been doing that for a minute. All you motherfuckers who are coming back, you already know what the shit is. I do the shit for you, baby. Let's break some bread. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I heard he rose on the third day, huh? Well, happy Easter, motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Whatever the fuck you believe in, hey, it's all good. We ain't judging on this side. But anyway. But we're just here. That's why, you know, as a spiritual healer, just so you know, spirituality it's what I use to help you. And that's what I use for myself. And, you know, that's the mirror that I hold for you to see who you are. And by spirituality, you see the word spirit, and it's the state of mind of your spirit. That's what spirituality is dealing with. That's why in spirituality, some of the basic shit we'll tell you is that you act like you're God. What the fuck that means is pretty much, you know, if you're Christian, your God tells you to eat this, to eat that, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that. If I become a 7-day Adventist right now, my Saturday will change automatically. And anybody who's a 7-day Adventist, their Saturdays, you know, it's a whole other, like, has a whole other meaning. Because that is what their God is asking of them, and this is what they do. Just like in Christianity, right? It's the only religion where your Bible tells you to go out there and convert other people to change their religion, and only your religion is the best. And what do all Christians do? Anything else is everything else is the devil, but Jesus and the Bible. So you acting just the way your God is telling you to act. And that goes for every fucking body. Now in my case, I embrace all those fucking gods. I'm all of them and none of them. And by doing so, it allows me to have even a broader perspective from a spiritual perspective, from a true spiritual perspective. Because now I'm not confined to one God. I have the understanding. In other words, I work with all of them. You know, you're not going to see Buddhism telling you, if you ask anybody or any other religion, even voodoo and all that shit, you ask them about Jesus, everybody's down with Jesus, dog. Nobody got a problem with Jesus. You know what I'm saying? But as a Christian motherfuckers, like, what's up with Muhammad, dog? You know what I'm saying? Then they'll tell you it's a false prophet, because only what they do is good. And this is why Christianity, like I always tell people, it's nothing personal, but they have a fucking agenda. The agenda is to convert you into theirs, but not for you to know the truth. That's what the agenda is. Because one truth never hurt another truth, man. Let me say that again. Something that is true in voodoo will be always true in general. One truth never hurt another truth. That's why those other religions, they understand that. So when you tell them about Jesus, Jesus was a prophet. Why would I even say, Jesus, or talk bad about Jesus, when the man is telling you to love one another? He's dropping gems. But the thing with you guys, and this is why you're always gonna be one-sided, because you claiming to know the truth, you judging shit you don't even fucking know about. How do you say Islam is not the truth when you know nothing of fucking Islam? And then now your reference now is gonna be, oh, this is what the Bible tells me. So now you have a book, all you do is book references. So you being guided, again, like in spirituality, we say, your God, you acting like your God. Can you see it? Is that making sense? Because then again, man, like, this is why I always tell people, man, spirituality is your life. It's revealing your state of being, your state of, your spirit, your state of mind, how you act, your story. So then now, on the flip side of that, you have something called the occult. Or the occult, those sacred texts, it goes by so many different names. But for me, or esoteric knowledge, I simply call it manuals. It's a manual, it's a guide. That's why if you're gonna learn anything about spirituality, and if this is your first book, or if you're gonna read a book about spirituality, some of the basic shit they will tell you is that they will talk about, sorry, excuse me, you know what I'm saying? Because we were doing a little bit of sipping, you feel me? Mm-hmm. We ain't bothering nobody, baby, you know what I'm saying? So the first thing they would teach you is that you have a subconscious mind. The idea of a sub, which is under, like submarine, subconscious, is under your conscious. They trying to help you to see, they're telling you, you don't know about it. You don't know about it. So now they're helping you now to know the things that you don't know. The whole idea of out of the darkness comes the light. That's what that shit means. That's why now, as you becoming spiritual now, and then they tell you, oh, guess what? You have something called a third eye. You need to open that shit up. Because what that shit does for you, it helps you now to become more receptive. You'll see even Jesus or the saint, they have something called the halo that's around their head. That is showing their highest state of clarity. That is also showing their how receptive that they are to the divine. Or that Godhead. So, and that's what you're dealing with when you're dealing with what is called the esoteric knowledge. Another way of saying esoteric knowledge too, just like the Bible, it's a book of esoteric knowledge. Meaning the knowledge cannot be taken literally. Like, in fact, a couple days ago, I had this Gnostic from the Gospel of Thomas where Jesus was saying, if you drink out of my mouth, at first I'm like, yo, oh, Jesus. Oh, man, no Diddy, nigga. How do I drink out of your mouth, nigga? Again, that knowledge is not meant for you to take it literally. But yet again, it makes perfect sense to me. Because drinking out of something is nourishing, it's assimilating, it's taking that knowledge. And then now he tells you, once you do that, now you become like me, and also become like you. So now we're sharing the same knowledge. That's why when we talk about Christ, it's a state of consciousness. Do you understand? So when you're dealing with esoteric knowledge, it's being said a certain way, but it's not meant for you to take it literally. You know, out of the darkness. Now, because depending on what your background is, a lot of people, when you talk about dark and light, they automatically associate that with either good or bad, or good or evil. I get it, because that is, again, the culture. That's how you've been conditioned to see things. Do you understand? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why, like, in fact, a friend of mine who is a fucking artist, and we were talking about that, and I was telling him, like, in America, like, you know, that's why you got to be conscious of what you're saying in your art. Because anybody, if you live in that side of the world, you see, let's just say, a picture of any kind, and then there's a fire underneath that person or surrounded that person. What do you see? What are you automatically thinking about? Is that person in hell? But yet, being fired up doesn't mean necessarily hell. I could be passionate about some shit. If I'm a fucking artist, you know, and I'm trying to show my passion, I may, you know, like have a fucking painting where I may have some fire around it. Meaning I'm fired up. I'm ready to go. I'm ambitious. All of that shit. Do you see what I'm trying to get to? Again, for you to have a broader perspective, you have to acknowledge these things. It may sound simple, but it's not easy. So, in a nutshell, that's what spirituality is. It's really giving you a deeper understanding of who you already are, or the life that you're living. All right, so now that we got that shit out of the way, you know, I mean, that's why now, if you understand, that's why I tell people mythology is your highest form of mind control. That's why your colonizers, they use the Bible to control your behavior, because your God will shape you to act a certain way, condition you to think a certain way. That's why they understand that. So that's why when I see other people who's talking about, man, they copied African shit. Yeah, but do you understand what they're doing though? You know, when I hear motherfuckers talking about Jesus is Horus, it may be Horus, but the way they're using this Jesus, this is not Horus. Because Horus, we use Horus to set you free. This Jesus that they're using is not to set you free, nigga. You know, that's when now you have what you call is a lot of the people that are talking about the Bible, they just book references, man. There's no experiences, there's no true activation. In other words, there's no broader perspective, but how it's being said in the Bible. And the funny thing is, even the Bible is telling you, you know, the letters kills, meaning anything you take literally, you know what I'm saying, you're not going to get it. The whole aspect of Jesus speaking in parables was not just for other people not to understand it, but for those who are supposed to understand it, those parables will help you. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, because I know for me, when I was not as enlightened as I am now, when I was reading some of those parables that Jesus was talking about, I got it. I know what the fuck he was talking about. Maybe not the fullest to the extent of what I know now, but there's none of these parables that you read and then you'd be like, you were totally stupid. to the point for the disciples to be like, hey, Jesus, why do you talk to him that way? You know, and then he's saying, you know, just so they don't get it, but it's meant for you to understand whatever the fuck. Because the parables could either that's what you see in the Bible. It could either do two things. It can either set you free or keep you in bondage, keep you in slavery. But depending on your nature of what you understand about you, then you can either breathe life into those letters or you become a slave of it. But anyway, I'm not going to spend too much time on that. So now that we already know, you know what spirituality is, but most importantly, you know, this is where I'm coming from with it. You know, so have a Coke and a smile, motherfucker. Like, if that's not your thing, you know, go with your book references and then you'll be good. You know what I'm saying? But if you're looking for a broader perspective, to elevate, and now to because you're the one who's breathing life into the Bible. The Bible don't give you life. You give it life. Because the Bible is written for you. But anyway, this is why, and another reason why I was saying too, that mythology rules your life. It's the highest form of mind control. Like when you look at someone, like if you understand everything I just said, and then when you see these motherfuckers telling you, well, can you show me where it says that in the Bible? Where you're not even thinking, or you're not even, there's no activation in you, you're not even experiencing anything, for you to just go with anything because that's what it says, and then that's how you got faith. Hey, I mean, it sounds pretty good to me. You know, hey, listen. I mean, hey, I think you got it. See, then again, hey, you know what I'm saying? Hey, we're going to leave that here. But anyway, now let's get into the meat and the fucking potatoes, right? Now, just so you guys know, because everything here too, man, and I always like to spend some time to talk about that, because if you understand everything I just said alone, that should put you on a higher, like that alone, man, like, because what we do here, we're giving you the sight. That alone should put you on a level now. It's like, oh, okay. Hopefully. I'm not going to hold my breath on that one. Hey, listen, man. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. If this is for you, listen, it's going to be for you. Bottom line. But anyway. Now, how do I go about this? Because now we're going to delve into some shit. So technically, I mean, I'm still working on the title. So if you're seeing this, I mean, what I may say here, then when I, come up with the title might be a little bit different. But essentially, it's the same essence, right? Because what I truly want to talk about here, it's like it's morality, ethics, but most importantly, it's that judgmental mind or thinking that we have. And all of that derives from a duality perspective. So just to give you a little bit of background before I even delve into what I'm going to be talking about here, even when we're going to talk about, ethics and all that shit. The way we all learn, right? You see a baby's learning, he's putting everything in his mouth. Then when he got burnt, and then it's like, oh, I don't want to touch it again. Right? And then something that feels good, guess what? All of us, that's what we do. So because of that, now we're living in a world that we would say this is good for you, this is bad for you, based on the results. So now you want to be good, you do all the shit that are supposedly good, then, you know what I'm saying, and, you kind of get the point. But what I'm really trying to tell you is this is where the whole idea of good and evil comes from. And if you know anything about the Bible, in creation, that is what eating from the tree of good and evil means. Tree is represented by knowledge because knowledge affects you in different areas in your life. Those branches, the fruit that you're bearing, everything that you're doing comes from your knowledge, your understanding. So when you have a baseline understanding that is based on good or evil or based on duality, then you see and act a certain way. And your perspective of life is based out of that. I hope I'm not losing you so far. So then now, there's a chain of fucking event that takes place from that understanding. Even morality now, like we are very biased, but yet we don't even understand it. Why? Because we have a one-sided perspective, good or evil, or good and evil. Because of that one-sided perspective, I'll give you a perfect example, right? And this is where I really want to get into. Fuck it, let's get into it. It's getting dark anyway. 35 minutes. I'm not gonna waste your time, baby. And I gotta get the fuck out of here too. But anyway, what we call self-defense. A lot of people, when we talk about self-defense, it's almost like if I told you I did something out of self-defense, it's almost like the action that I did, I didn't really do it. This is what I mean. When we talk about self-defense, let's just say somebody tried to kill me and I killed them first. Because of self-defense, that doesn't mean that I didn't kill that person. It means that truly, what you're truly saying when you talk about self-defense is, I killed the motherfucker first before this motherfucker killed me. Same thing when we're talking about, now we're venerating or praising all of our, let's just say, and that may rub certain people a certain way, but I get it. That's because of how you've been conditioned, but it's okay. But it's worth to talk about. This is for educational purposes. This is not for nothing else, right? We praise our veterans, right? Thank you for protecting our country. How are they protecting our country? Like, when there's a war, do they go out there and sit down and talk to these people? Do they go out there and sit down and talk to these people? All right, let's work it out. Nah, man. They go out there to kill people. But we justify certain things. Either, it's crazy. It's almost like, just like I was telling you, how do you think you're being protected? Just like, what I'm saying? In fact, I think a couple of days ago I was talking about when we talk about sacrifices. Like, you guys lose your mind when you see a certain ritual when people are sacrificing, whereas in the Bible, God is asking for sacrifice. Abraham was, in fact, you want to talk animal, Abraham was getting ready to sacrifice his own people, his own son. Didn't God sacrifice his own son? Like, this obsession with sacrifices. But anyway, it's not to be taken literally because a lot of you motherfuckers don't get it. So I'm not going to waste my time on that. Because all of that shit is, you have to sacrifice yourself for God. The whole sacrifice, like me, I sacrifice myself for you now. The shit that I'm sharing with you now, how the fuck do you think I learned about this shit? It's either I had to experience it. I had to experience it. Then now my sacrifice, my experience, the shit that I got burned for me to learn, now I'm sharing this shit with you for free. That's what it means that Jesus died for you, motherfucker. That's what it means. And anybody who's speaking of this light, we all sacrifice our life. Either we've been dedicated, like my life, I dedicated my life to knowledge, nigga. To the divine. So now I could talk to you about this shit. The books that I'm reading, I'm doing all that shit for you, motherfucker. Why? Because now I could share it with you. And now somehow you can elevate from it and to save your own motherfucking ass. But anyway, I just want to talk about the judgmental aspect of us, right? So then you'll see, oh, how can they do that? And then go to fucking Walmart, bro. I mean, how do you think all those meat are there? But not only that, like Chris Rock was saying, America's the only country where a nigga would hunt on a full stomach. You know, our sisters used to hunt because, hey, nigga, there wasn't no freezer. Like, if they didn't hunt, they didn't eat. Now you have niggas now that are hunting out of, I don't know. It's just a fucking experience. And guess what you're doing when you're hunting? Oh, protecting nature? Protecting the fucking animals? Come on, man. Come on, man. And not just that, too. Speaking of that, too, why do you think you don't give a fuck about animals that are fucking dying? Because you got to survive. So I'm saying that to say, even when we talk about ethics, our ethics is biased. It's biased, man. No, okay. And I was guilty of that shit until I had to really tap into myself. Dave Chappelle was talking about, hey, man, you know, like he was young when he signed his first contract. You know, he didn't know too much about contract. Right? And then as a kid, you know, you making jokes. Think about it. Anybody, man, you're going to be a superstar. You're young. Why would you not be excited to sign a fucking contract? You wouldn't think, you know what I'm saying, like, this is a cruel world. You got to watch your back. That's crazy, bro. And even when he was talking about that, yo, I'm not going to lie to you. At first, I was like, Dave, man, nigga, please. You'll sign that shit, nigga. Whereas the very first thing he was talking about is not that he was denying that he didn't sign it. What he's saying is he didn't know any better. Who's protecting those kids? Who's protecting you when other people are taking advantage of your innocence? And then now you have the law that's enforcing that shit. How about that for your ass? And this is the law that is just. This is your justice, motherfucker. Like, you know, I went to school to become a fucking accountant. So I've had to take so many business classes. And one of those classes, you know, that they were actually teaching you, there's a huge difference between ethics and business law and laws. What is lawful, in other words, doesn't mean that it's ethical. Pay your fucking taxes, nigga. You better. And you see what the fuck happens. You tell me how justice is that. How, and then again, listen, this is for educational purposes, motherfuckers. I'm not telling you to go against no fucking government. I'm not telling you none of that shit. Educational purposes, meaning for you not to be enslaved by their bullshit. Once you know the truth, you move in accordance. Like me, I'll pay my taxes, nigga. You know what I'm saying? So this is not telling you I'm a fucking moron. I own the land. Hey, if that's what you want. Hey, respectfully, hey, cool. You know what I'm saying? And then you're gonna be like, what Wesley Snipes? You're gonna find out the hard way. But anyway, the purpose of what I'm doing here, it's not none of that, because you know, but it's for you to understand, to have a broader understanding, and then now the whole idea of you living in the world but not of the world. That's what it means. It means now you understand what's taking place, but now you're not giving your energy into it. Give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and give to God what belongs to God. Pay your taxes, niggas. You know, this is not even about me trying to cover my ass. I really don't give a fuck. I really don't. You know, and the idea too, man, like this is a fucking illusion anyway. You're not here to build, you're not here to make this a better world. You're here to be better yourself. And ultimately, yes, I mean, shit, we're not fucking animals and shit. I mean, you'll be able to represent that divinity in you. That's what you're doing. To be your full potential, and you showing others how to liberate themselves, and then now for you to go back to wherever the fuck you came from. Because now you understand this, that's why they call it Earth School, for you to elevate your mind. Because I don't give a fuck. Okay, you say, fuck this government, there's gonna be another one that's gonna do the same shit. All you niggas be talking about this African shit, the black power shit, these niggas was also selling you too. In fact, shit, niggas treat niggas even worse, nigga. Niggas treat niggas even worse. You know what I'm saying? You would think, like, you know, certain black businesses that I go to, you would think, you know what I'm saying, they understand, like, we don't have a whole much of money. Some of those black businesses are more expensive than if you were to go to a fucking, I mean, if that shit more expensive, what does that tell you? Come on now. Most, like, nigga, I live in fucking Georgia. Most of the so-called, you know, nice, decent places where black people and shit, you'll get a drink at least for $20, nigga. I mean, not all, you know, black owned is pretty much like that. The point of what I'm saying here is not to go against black people. No, I'm for black people. It's educational purposes, so you don't go for the okie doke. Not to become one-sided. That's the point. To have broader perspective. Meaning I could support my black people, but at the same time, I could see some motherfuckers, they fucking me up too, nigga. That's what having a broader perspective is. Not just going like, oh, let's just support all black businesses, whereas shit, nigga. It's like, nigga, I'm Haitian. Certain Haitian restaurant I used to go to in South Florida, nigga, it's like, if you go there to get something to eat, nigga, you gotta eat before you go there. There's a wait and there's nobody waiting. nigga, fuck you, nigga, all that shit. But anyway, you know, at times, if I'm in the mood to have some Haitian food, I wouldn't give a fuck. I'm not too full. That's what I want to eat. Then I could deal with it. But then it got to a point where I'm not doing that shit. But nevertheless, all I'm saying is, here is for educational purposes, meaning for you to have a broader perspective. Not for you to go like, fuck the government, none of that shit. If you're going to do that, listen, man, Obama, you had a black president. What the fuck did that nigga do for you? Let's be real, my niggas. Let's be real. And besides, this is what you guys need to understand about what you call so-called institution. Every institution, they're not there for change, nigga. Every institution, they have what is called a system. That's why even in your justice system, you have amendments. You know what amendments is? It's a modification, nigga. We meaning the law is still the law. It's still going to be the same. And then you have some modifications. So when you have any motherfucker's going to tell you who's going to be part of any type of governmental or institution, school. I don't even have to go that far. Your school system. They may use different methods. Now you could use computer. But you're going to learn the same basic bullshit that you were learning before, because their agenda is not to educate you. It's to condition you. They are conditioning you. But anyway, again, educational purposes. I hope I made it clear. So now, you know, it's the same thing. Now, when we're talking about our veteran, you know, all that shit, like, you think these niggas go out there and, you know, let's just sit down and, like, civilize people, let's negotiate? Is that what you think's taking place? So again, the biasness. This is why, for you to have the broader perspective, I'll give you one even better. The whole thing about Democrat, Republican. It's idiot. It's idiotic. It's being put in a box. You say you a Republican. Why? Because you think this way. This is saying I'm a Democrat. Why? Because you're thinking that way. So what do you have? Two different boxes. None of them have a broader perspective. Because for you to have a broader perspective, that means what? You got to go beyond the little box that you in. You got to learn how to see the good I mean, you can't tell me, nigga. Are you really gonna tell me there's nothing good? Let's just say if you're a fucking Republican, the Democrat has nothing good, no values, nothing that makes sense. Now, if you're a fucking Democrat, you mean to tell me the Republican have nothing good at all? And if they do, my question to you now, what does that say of you? Are you being a one-sided person or a person of quality? Meaning, are you looking that's why I always tell you guys, man, one truth never hurt another truth. How do you ignore another truth and saying your truth is the truth? Ah, man, like, listen. And then now you claim to speak the truth. You're just being one-sided, bro. But anyway, and this is what's taking place, even in our system, the so-called the ethics, the justice system. That's what it is, a fake justice system. And that's what Bane, if you see Batman, that's what he was talking about. Again, this is not for you to go riot, go crazy. This is for educational purposes, for you to elevate your awareness. And also not to give them your energy too. Because ultimately, that's what they're taking out of you. To be honest. That's why my purpose here is to set you free. Not setting you free by going against other motherfuckers. That's not setting you free. That's fighting for dumb shit. I hope that's clear enough. You know? So, but then again, when we're talking about the whole dualistic perspective, this is where it's confusing. Even ethics. You know what I'm saying? And even when you're looking at the whole, just like I was telling you, I did use that fucking example in one of my last recordings. I don't even remember. When I dropped that shit, I dropped it. But anyway, and which I already dropped, but I'm saying once I talk about it, I don't recall which one I was. But anyway, it's like a lot of comedians, for instance, right? They talk about, you know, they would tell you, man, you gotta whoop your kids your kids' ass because they were abused themselves. And then they're saying, hey, I turned out to be good. So the minute the motherfucker's telling you I turned out to be good, you already know what's up. That means they're going to do the kids exactly. And that's why they're telling you to do the same shit. Now, let me ask you this. How do you break generational patterns if you're doing the same shit that your ancestors were doing? Better yet, I don't know what kind of ass whooping that you were getting that somehow taught you how to make jokes. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, for me, that's the work that I had to do. Like, I could tell you I got my ass whooped a whole lot, but none of that shit made me the person that I am. That shit was hurtful, nigga. In fact, I was getting my ass whooped because I was raised with a dumb bitch who didn't know how to express herself. So her first reaction, not to mention she was getting her ass whooped herself, was for her to do that to me. Now, if you saying I turned out to be okay, not because I was getting my ass whooped, nigga, that's because I educated myself, bitch. I learned. In fact, I was the type of nigga, when you whoop my ass, I'll do it again. That's the type of nigga I was. You whoop my ass, oh nigga, shit. I'll do that same shit again tomorrow. Real shit. You know what I'm saying? Real shit. So, you know what I'm saying? Had I not say no to that, guess what I was going to be doing to my daughter and my son? Whereas none of that shit means nothing. Now, at times, I may have to whoop their ass too. Like, I know, like, there's been time where I'm like, I pow my fucking daughter. I'm like, hey. You know, to let her know that I'm serious. But I also know It's not that's going to make them who they are. That's why I give them knowledge. And of course, I mean, we're talking about when she was like 3, 4, you know, and even then, like, I probably like, you know, like we used to say pow pow, like probably twice, maybe 3 times, maybe 3 times, but nothing more than that, because I knew what the fuck the truth was. Better yet, I've done the work myself. Do you see what I'm saying? Then now you may have somebody else, let's just say, that's why when we come to ethics, you know, like the best way to truly be, for you to be truly ethical, you have to refrain yourself from that moral judgment that we do. Because if you're calling such and such this and that, you know, I can't believe such and such is a fucking monster, they did this and this, that. Well, guess what? Now, if that's what you're going to say, we say hurt people for a reason. I mean, it's not always the case, because I got hurt myself. I'm not hurting my kids. You know, but that's because I've done the shadow work. And that's why there's like, I love this fucking shit that says when you don't say no to something, you're saying yes to it. But then again, this is also dealing with your subconscious mind, spirituality, your state of spirit, who you are. This is why you have to become conscious. And this is what spirituality is helping you with. Anything you're not conscious of, you'll be triggered by it. This is why it's necessary for you to go into the darkness to find the light. Not good and bad, but in what you don't know. So now you materialize that. And that's the same idea. This is why, you know, like when you look at the Sphinx, I'll give you a perfect example. And I did talk about the misunderstanding of idols or symbols. You know, people are saying this is what they were worshiping idols. No, motherfucker. Those idols were there. They were elevating. In fact, they used, those were tools. A Sphinx is a tool that helps you to acknowledge the divinity in you. Meaning, although your body, you may have a body of an animal, or we all gotta eat, we gotta shit, but then you have that head, which is a fucking human being, or that divinity in you that controls it. So the Sphinx symbol is not, it's a tool that helps you to elevate, stupid motherfuckers. That's why you need to have those gods around you. That's why you need these things. They actually help you to tap into the God in you. In fact, you materialize that. The Sphinx is a materialization of you. When you elevate, you know who you are. Now you know how to tame the beast in you. Then you have a statue that represents that. So when you see it, you materialize that. So then now, therefore, you now can look at the Sphinx, and then it helps you to elevate. That's why our ancestors, we were true fucking magicians. True fucking, and this is why it's, you must be crazy to think you were smarter. Like somehow we think we are the what's the word here, of fucking civilization. You're crazy. No. What you're seeing here is a decline of civilization. Because that same knowledge no longer there, then now that's why now you have book references. Then now these motherfuckers who are saying fuck idols and not worshiping idol, they say they're claiming God, now they're using God for material shit. When you go to church, niggas are praying not for you to be sick, you're praying for all that bullshit which has nothing to do with the God, the divinity in you. You're praying God to get a job, motherfucker. Come on, man. And then you're going to talk about idols, man. Y'all motherfuckers, you're the one worshiping idols. Your identity, you know what I'm saying, it's self-worth. Your car defines who you are. You feel important if you're driving a certain car. If you have that kind of money, if you have that purse, nigga, those $3,000-$4,000 purse that are made in China for $25, bitch. Do you see what I'm saying? This is why now in spirituality, we're helping you to have a broader perspective, not to be limited. Oh shit, let me walk down there, man. It's getting dark over here. Shit, I'm gonna have to go anyway. So, this is why. Hold up, niggas. Hold up now, because we got some more shit to talk about. Okay, hold up. Let me do this. All right, be patient, bitches. Okay, what's up, motherfuckers? You sipping on your shit? You know what I'm saying? How your Easter's so far, motherfuckers? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think, I'm staying in tonight. You know what I'm saying? Had a ball last night. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, bam. All right, whoa. Blasphemy, you know what I'm saying? But that was okay. We pour a little something for the ancestors, you know what I'm saying? Which I already did that, but, but anyway. So, let's get back to this conversation here, right? Real quick. I'm not going to be here for too long, guys. What the fuck was I talking about? This is why now in the occult now, the whole idea of helping you to see, instead of being one-sided, this is good and this is bad, now we help you to have a broader perspective. Meaning now we're helping you to see, hey, listen, something that is bad could also be good. That's why you need opposition for you to grow. Like the motherfucker who has a nice body, guess what this motherfucker's doing to his body? You gotta, sculpt that shit. You literally, are the architect, meaning you're gonna have to go to the gym, and guess what, man? The harder you go, the better you're gonna feel. Now, with spirituality now, by you having a deeper understanding of who you are and the life that you're living in, this is where now we're helping you now. Oh, okay. Let me just, because now that's why we talk about two sides of the same coin, which is the actual life that you're living in. That's why you need good and you need bad. Until you understand that, you'll never see this life as being perfect, because your understanding of what perfection is flawless, which is ignorance. Again, how do we become better? When you see Prince doing whatever the fuck he was doing, or Michael Jordan, Michael Jackson, or even Wyclef with the guitar and all that shit, do you think that's how they started playing the guitar? No, motherfucker. That's not how they started playing the guitar. They had to build their fingers. Like, I know for me, you know what I'm saying? Because, I don't walk the line or anything. You know what I'm saying? But, you know what I'm saying? I get down a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Because, that's one of my favorite fucking instruments. But that shit was hell, bro. My fingers was fucking hurting. And, I got thick fingers too, man, like certain chord. And there's still certain chords that I'm still having. I mean, I know how to bend over it a little bit. Like, what was it? That was that chord, man. Or was it the L, whatever the fuck? I can't recall. I haven't been playing the guitar for a minute. I've been invested into this shit. But anyway, man, do you see what I'm saying? Like, you really got to master this shit. And how do you master it? Through pain. Through disappointment. In fact, I just dropped a recording where I was telling people you got to learn how to lose. Les Brown says it best. You're going to succeed. You're going to fail through through fucking success. Meaning nothing of what you're doing is supposed to be perfect in the sense of being flawless. If you didn't fall as a child, you wouldn't be walking right now. But you walking now because not only that you fell, but you had to keep getting up. Do you see what I'm saying? So the whole idea, even if you, by you approaching that from this perspective alone, it's already setting you free. It's already putting you in a position where now you can become a fully developed human being. That's why you need conflict in your life. That's why you need opposition. Your opposition is your master, because it helps you to become better. This is why in the occult now, you know what I'm saying, and other people will tell you, you know what I'm saying, like, you don't want to be too comfortable. And the idea, hold up, let me do this, put this right here. And the idea of you not being too comfortable because there's no growth. So if you're living in a world where everything is easy, that's what you see. There's no growth. That's why anybody who's too comfortable, too lazy, you never grow. And that's why you'll see anybody who has succeeded, they will tell you the same shit. Yo, man, it's hard work. Mike Tyson says it best too. This nigga told you, man, hey, discipline, you gotta learn how to do the things that you don't like to do. I mean, if you're looking to be comfortable, there's no growth. This is why, and I guess this is the point that I wanted to make about, I wanted to make that point about to really be ethical. It's to refrain yourself from having those judgmental, or to be morally judgmental. Ironically, this is when now you truly become ethical, because now, you know what I'm saying, you're not being put in a box. You're not blaming anybody. You understand now. Because when you really, I mean, that's why I was talking about the whole aspect of we all biased, man, in everything that we do. Even when we talk about self fucking defense. When you do for self-defense, that doesn't mean you did not kill. That's why anybody who's good doesn't mean you don't do bad. I mean, not to sound too crazy and shit, maybe that's why killing isn't too bad, man. We do it anyway. This is part of the world that we're living in. You know what I'm saying? That's why even if you're a lover, you still gotta fight. You gotta fight, man. Everybody gotta fight. Like I tell these motherfuckers, like, if you think I'm an angel, you're gonna send me to heaven? Well, I'll make sure you go to hell, motherfucker. Ain't no shame in my game. Self-defense means I'll kill you first before you kill me. How about that, bitch? How about that? You wanted to kill me? I'm gonna kill you first. Fuck forgiveness, man. I forgive myself. I'm good. Do you see what I'm trying to say? So the whole ethics, I mean, it's all bias. And that's why we're trying to tell you even about the justice system. Again, for you to fully develop, you have to bypass those fucking boxes. You got to become too, like, I'm too big for these boxes, man. Like, there's a nigga named Blooded, like, I love, like, I'm too big for those little C's, man. I love that line. Man, shout out to that nigga, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm too big for those little C's, man. I'm too big to be put in the fucking box, man. But it's not out of self-importance, but it's by me being fully developed. Not out of fucking arrogance. Not for me to say I'm morally or ethically better than somebody else. Because ultimately, all of that shit is bullshit. It's bias. Now, when I was talking about the whole Dave Chappelle shit, you know, a lot of us, and I see that. Dude, how often in my recordings here, right, that I tell people, you know, I was illegally kidnapped as a kid and all that shit. Nobody ever be like, yo, that's crazy, B. Like, you okay? Are you surviving? Nobody really gives a fuck. You know why? Because you don't relate to it. You don't have no immediate connection with me. So you don't give a fuck. Is that you being ethically correct? But then again, hey, I'm not offended. I understand. I understand our nature. Just like, for me, it took a second. Even, myself. When Dave Chappelle was talking about that shit, I'm like, man, nigga, I know, man. But, nigga, you saw that shit. And that's what most people would say. Is back to, and guess who's backing that shit up? Who's gonna enforce that? Your justice system of taking advantage of innocent or stupid people. Now, what's just about that? You let me know. Weed now is becoming legal. You know how many of my Haitian niggas or some of my friends that got deported over fucking weed, bro? Or niggas that serve time? Okay, fuck deportation. Maybe you may not be able to relate to that, right? How many of your friends, or maybe not your friend, but whatever the fuck. I mean, since, that's what it takes for you to relate to something, man. You see what I'm saying? Again, those ethical measures, man, it's all bullshit. It's bias. When you understand that, you know what I'm saying? Like, even the people that are saying, like, when a nigga tell you, man, I did it because of self-defense. Like, yes, I understand it's self-defense. That doesn't mean you didn't kill the person. So now we validate somebody to kill another people when you are protecting your own self. But we word it a certain way. It's almost like, nah, man, there was no killing that actually took place. Do you see what I'm trying to tell you? And that's what we do with our veterans. That's what we do with everybody, with everything else. Here's something else too. In our justice system, what you call, ethics or just, whatever the fuck, we would only hold somebody accountable if they know what they're doing. So in other words, if someone come here and kill me, but they didn't know what they were doing, yet I'm still dead. He's a psychopath. That's what a lot of people too, knowing that shit, they take advantage of that shit too. You know what I'm saying? Like, instead of going to jail, they go to a psychiatry. I mean, however the fuck you say that shit. You know what I'm saying? A psychopath's motherfucking hospital or whatever the fuck. Psychiatrist, whatever the fuck, man. I'm not even gonna try it. You know what I mean? Judge me off all you want, nigga. I'm Haitian. Fuck you, bitch. You know what I'm saying? So again, like, that's why to become spiritual, we help you to fully become developed. So now at this point, you're not being put in a box where now you have a one-sided perspective that wouldn't allow you to see the full picture. And whenever you don't see the full picture, your understanding is always going to be just that. It's going to be biased. It's going to be limited. And to be honest, it's not going to be ethical, to be honest, because it's one-sided. Good people do bad shit just like bad people do good shit. But now, it's what's going to determine how good you are, how bad you are now. It's not, it's not those ethical judgment. That's why, again, for you, ironically, for you to truly become ethical, that's why us, the true spiritualists, we are the true ethics. We are the true ethical motherfuckers. Not only we're not just placing judgment on people, or to say that I'm better than you, or you better than me, But we apply these things. You know, I have compassion. I understand if you act in this way, this is where that came from. It doesn't give you a pass, but I understand. It makes me non-judgmental when it comes to you because I have a better understanding. Do you get it? But anyway, man, let me get the fuck out of here, man. I got things to do. But anyway, I mean, I'll probably have to make a part 2 because I feel like there's a whole bunch of other shit that we could definitely talk about. You know, I mean, because, you know, like this is where, but most importantly, if you understand everything I just talked about so far, this is why you have to become born of the Spirit. This is why when you become born again, you know, you now have become born again means you are born of the Spirit at this time. Now you're looking at shit past the physical shit. Now you have a deeper understanding of yourself, and this is why I always tell you guys to read the fucking Kabbalion. Now you have an understanding of what those spiritual laws are and how and what they mean in your life and how they help you as a person. You know, when we talk about the law of correspondence, for instance, it helps you to see that everything that happens around you also happen in your life. It corresponds to something into your life. Like when we talk about metaphysics, the whole aspect of metaphysics is the law of correspondence. Meaning, just like, let's just say, when you plant a seed, it takes time for it to grow in nature. The same thing happens to you. When you now become born of the Spirit, that's why you have to water yourself. You're planting those seeds, you're developing yourself. Guess what? It's going to take time for you to grow. That's how you grow spiritually. You developed. Just like your body is developing from a fucking, let's just say, from a toddler, from a baby to a toddler. I mean, from a toddler to whatever the fuck, baby, toddler, adolescent, and young men. And, you know, you grow like that too mentally. And this is why when you understand that, then you understand the same way you make sure that you take shower, you brush your teeth, you do everything else. Guess what, motherfucker? You need to pick up a book. You need to meditate. You need to do all that shit too. Because ultimately, all of that, for you to fully develop as a person, you got to embody yourself. You got to become the embodied one. Another way of saying that, we say it in the occult, you know, you master the men within. But anyway, I'm going to leave it here. I still got to figure out the fucking title for this shit. But, you know, essentially, you know, I'm going to find something that matches, you know, the baseline understanding of what we're talking about here. And then if somehow I found like, I mean, I feel like, you know, there's other shit that I didn't talk about. But if I'm going to make a part 2, then you're going to find out tomorrow. But anyway, always remember, for you to do, you have to be. You know, and then again, man, you know, if you not true to you, if you false to yourself, you can never be true to nobody else. So with all of that being said, always remember the remedy of the pain is in the pain. You know, to find love, you got to become love. You do the thing that you love, and you find the one that loves you. Haïtien. Mali.